NicNaccers. Well, we are in the month of December, and that means Christmas. So today I have Christmas gifts on my mind, and a couple of things I know I'm going to be making this year is Christmas jam and Christmas punch. So I have the goods for the jam right here, and I'll go through them. I have 3 cups of fresh cranberries. Now, if you stocked up last year and you have some in the freezer, I don't see why you would not be able to use frozen cranberries with this. So one store I went to did not have any cranberries. And then another one I went to, I saw some in the freezer section, but then I saw some fresh. So if all you can find is freezer, I think that we would be able to make this jam with just using frozen cranberries. But I have the fresh here, and that's what the recipe calls for. So 3 cups of those, 4 cups of sugar. We are going to be using 1 whole orange, and it calls for 2 teaspoons of the zest from the orange. So I just shaved off 2 strips. I figure that will be plenty. And then we're going to cut this in half and get the seeds and the membrane out and use the orange and the pulp, the juice and the pulp. And then it calls for a 10-ounce bag of frozen strawberries. Now, I could not find just a small 10-ounce bag. I have a 16-ounce bag here that I threw in the microwave and I defrosted for, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, just to kind of soften them up a little bit. And I thought about kind of measuring out 10 ounces, but you know what? I'm going to be okay, I think. I'm going to go ahead and use the whole 16 ounces. Between the cranberries that have a lot of pectin in them, and then the pouch of liquid pectin I'll be using, I think we're going to have a good set. So I'm not really too worried about it. And then for our spices, we're going to be putting in a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. So let's get going. First thing we have to do is we have to throw in our fruit into the food processor. If you have a blender, you could kind of blend them up a bit. You just want to make sure this jam isn't supposed to be like super smooth. So you just kind of want to pulse it and break them up a bit. So let's take a look at that. Oh, I think I want to go a little bit more. That will be good. And if you have room and want to throw all of it, the strawberries, the cranberries, the orange in there, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to do that. My food processor is not quite that big, so I'm going to be doing all of mine separate. So, and I want that to stay in there. There we go. We don't have to get it perfect because we know we're going to be using this again. So I've never had a recipe where, oh, sorry, I was just trying to think, am I really supposed to be taking this out? Because one recipe I read said to throw in the whole entire orange, but I don't think this recipe calls for that. Otherwise, why would we be taking off the pulp or the zest? And then let's see, how am I going to do that without cutting myself? Because we know no one wants to see me cut myself, right? I hope not. All right. Take that. I don't really see any seeds yet. Really, all this is making me want to do is eat the orange. right, so I'm going to go ahead and continue working on this. And once I get the whole orange in there, I'll bring you back. The orange is in there, and we'll kind of pulse that up. It gets very juicy as well, you can see. Oh man, you guys. Becca told me, I'm going to move to the other side because your arm gets in the way, and now I'm sure making the lid to the processor get in the way too. That's funny. Okay, let's see here. All right, and last but not least, we'll throw the strawberries in here. And these are still partly frozen. I don't know if I told you guys that. If you want to thaw them out all the way, that's no big deal, but I just thought they might be a little easier to work with if they were just unthawed a little bit. And frozen strawberries, looks like they kind of sort of turned a little bit too much, so maybe more frozen would have been better, but that's okay. We're not going to complain. We're just going to enjoy the taste. Oop. All right, and make sure to get your blade out. Get all the yummy berry goodness off of there. All right, so there's that. Now we're done with that. Move that out of the way. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to turn my burner on a little bit, not super high, and I'll throw in, oh, I don't think I mentioned that there is also half a cup of water. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in now so that fruit on the bottom doesn't burn. And now if you have a zester, use it. I do not have a zester. And I've always found that if you just take the time and kind of cut the shavings of your orange peels and your lemon peels and your lime peels, that consistency is just like a, oops, but try not to cut yourself. It's just like a zester. I think that looks kind of pretty. All right, that may be 2 teaspoons. Looks more like a tablespoon, but I'm okay with that. And let's see, we'll go ahead and stir that up a bit. Funny story, Becca saw my measured cranberries sitting over here. And she walked over, those look good, and grabbed one and proceeded to pop it in her mouth. Had never had a fresh cranberry before and didn't realize just how tart those babies are. So we had a really good laugh.
No, the funny thing is I have done that before.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was hilarious. And now it's even funnier because she forgot and she got to relive that experience all over again. All right, so there's that. We are going to put in our sugar and our spices. And that's going to be a 1/4 teaspoon of both clove and cinnamon. I was thinking a little nutmeg in here might be kind of nice too, but since I've never tried this as is, I feel like I want to make it the way I saw the recipe. And the recipe came from one of my canning sites in one of their files. So I have no idea who the original author is, but that's where I saw it. So if I can find a link that has the same recipe, I will link it. And if not, I'll try to remember to write it in the description box. Oh, wow, it already smells good. Okay, so now that I have everything mixed in and I know that fruit's not sitting on the bottom, I'm going to turn this up, and we need to get this to boiling before we add that fruit pectin. All of our goods are in here. Now it's just a waiting game. So I'll bring you back once it's boiling and to the point where we can add the pectin. Well, I decided to let this boil for, gosh, it's probably going on 5 or 10 minutes now. I just wanted to make sure that the cranberries were nice and soft and had released their pectin. So it wasn't really looking like they had given off a lot of their juice or anything at the very beginning, just after a couple of minutes. So I let it go a little bit longer. When you're making yours, you can look at it and decide if you feel like it needs to go longer, or if, heck, maybe it barely even needs to boil. Now I'm going to add the liquid pectin, and you guys know, well, maybe if this is the first time you've seen one of my videos, you don't, but I really don't like using liquid pectin. I don't feel like I get a very good result with liquid pectin, but with cranberries, they have a lot of natural pectin in them, so I worry less about using a high pectin fruit like cranberries and liquid pectin. So I'm going to go ahead and follow the recipe as written with the liquid. And there's not very many recipes that I do that with, but this will be one of them. And if you guys could smell this, seriously, when they say this is Christmas jam, it literally smells like Christmas. That mix of the cinnamon and the nutmeg, the cranberries, the orange, the strawberries, it is the perfect combination to give you that liquid Christmas smell. I cannot wait to taste this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let this boil for a couple of minutes, at least a minute, and I might even go to 2 just to make sure that that liquid pectin has been activated. And then we'll start jarring it up. All right. Guys, this jam tastes amazing. You know what I forgot? I forgot my funnel. Becca always says I forget something, and I think she might be right. All right, so we're gonna put this in. This jam has a fantastic balance of sweet and tart between the cranberries, the strawberries, the zest. It's amazing. It really tastes delicious, and I did not get enough in there. There we go. So I do have some clumps of like the cranberries and the strawberries. So I'm going to debubble. In your kitchen, you do what you do. We're going to wipe our rim. And I don't know, Becca, if you can pan up and even show them what the top of that looks like. Oh, it's so pretty. Can you see the zest in there, the cranberries, the little seeds? Ah, so good. All right, so pretty. Only thing that would make it better is if maybe the color was a little lighter so you could actually see that contrast better, but I'll take good taste over perfect coloring anytime. Oh, so pretty. Nice. All right. So I'm going to continue filling these. The recipe states that you're going to get 6 half pints. And we all know how recipes go and jams and, well, pretty much any canning recipe is not always spot on. So we will see how many I get and I will bring you back and show you. All right, so I got 2, 4, 6 jars out of that batch with a little extra left over there. So I'm planning on doing 2 batches, but I didn't want to do both at the same time because I wasn't sure if there would be too many to fill up the pan or not. So I'm going to do them separately, but the first batch is going in, and I don't remember how long they have to process, so I'm going to have to look that up. Once I take them out, I will let you guys know how long they process for. And they are out of the canner. They ended up going for 15 minutes. The processing time was for 10, but of course with my altitude I have to add 5 minutes. So they are now out. I'm going to get going on a second batch, and thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.